for so many years, ego was driving. I was trying to strive to make enough money to do this, to do that, like to build a company. And now I've done all of that, and those companies are still doing their thing. And frankly, I found myself last October really bored. I was like, I don't have to do anything anymore. Now what? Like, what's the next chapter? What's the next stage? What's the next piece? And I think the next piece for me, like real legacy, is how do we give it away, right? I can't remember who gave the quote, but once you discover your gift, the whole purpose in life is to give it away.
Well, another thought about pain. You mentioned earlier that you had taken a lot of ibuprofen today for pain. When I was going through my pain part, I remember that they gave me a prescription of Oxycontin, oxycodone, whatever, the oxy word, the one that's like big in the shows nowadays about people getting addicted and whatnot. And
Oxycontin.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I was afraid of that because this concept of addiction, I think that you might have it, but you don't know. And if you don't know, then maybe you're addicted. You don't know. And I didn't want to try it because the one time I took it, I was so unclear in my thinking, I couldn't respond to things with my normal thinking. So I had to, in my mind, Eric, I had to say, I'm willing to accept the pain because what I get when I accept the pain is I can still be clear-headed, even though it's painful.
Right.
I still get to clear head. So I wonder about your relationship with narcotics or with painkillers, because you are sharp, my friend. You might be one of the top 3 sharpest, quickest wit, super intelligent humans that I know. And I look up to you for that. You're like a mentor for that. Girls. I do say that to a lot of chicks, yes. But you're the dude. So I'm curious, have you ever sacrificed your mental clarity at the altar of, I just need relief from this pain for a while? Or how does that relationship for you?
So my parents were both addicts. And my first 8 days, I took the pills they recommended. And I was in a dark room, and I just remember being angry all the time. It was Oxycontin, it was a couple of different muscle relaxants, and I said no more. And so I stopped taking them and probably did terrible things to my liver with ibuprofen and Aleve for years.
Okay.
And then the added element of this is I'm a pilot. And so I can't take Oxycontin, oxycodone, hydrocodone, and be a pilot. It goes on my record. They would pull my medical. The last time I had a prescription for oxycodone, it was a 30-day prescription. It lasted me almost a year. No, it was 10 months. 10 months it lasted.
Okay.
And of course, this is in Florida, and this is in the time when everyone's cracking down. So they wouldn't even give me more unless I went to see a pain specialist. And so I was like, well, I'm good then. I'll just use ibuprofen.
Okay.
There are some drugs so 10 years ago, I guess 11 years ago now, I was flying a paramotor and had a big equipment malfunction, and I plunged 325 feet out of the sky in less than 3 seconds, hit the roof of a house. If I'd been 2 feet lower, I'd be dead. If I'd been 2 feet higher, I'd be fine. Skip off the roof of the house, land, break my back again, L3, L5. And I did not want painkillers. So I get to the hospital. They're like, do you want some painkiller? And I'm like, no, because I remember how terrible my experience had been. And at this point I have a wife, I've got 2 kids, one's a toddler. And I want to be present with them. And my wife's with me in the hospital. We get transferred to another hospital for, critical care or whatever, because I fell from such a height, they had to move me. And that night, at 1 o'clock in the morning, this happened at 7:20 in the morning. At 1 o'clock in the morning, they finally decided to start addressing the giant, I don't even know what you call it, the wound on my calf, which is where I slid up the asphalt shingles. So I just have asphalt rash. And so they take the wire brush and they're scraping the asphalt out of my leg. 17 hours later, and so at that point I said, yes, please give me a half dose of whatever you have.
Yes.
And they gave me morphine. It was the first time I'd ever been on morphine. And my wife and I at that point had been married for almost 5 years. And we still say it was probably the best date of our life, because it's the one time we'd been together where I had no pain. And we hung out in the hospital bedroom, and we had a great time. And so I could definitely see the attraction, which is why I'm so committed to doing the work that I have to do to try to mend my body as best as I can, between kinesiological chiropractic, rolfing, energy work. There's all kinds of different things that I've tried, and many have worked very well. And many of them have been, like John Vroman sent a dry needling guy to my house. Great gift. They stick an acupuncture needle into your muscle and they stir it like they're making soup.
Yeah.
not fun. I felt like I was in a car accident the next day, and I didn't feel any relief.
Ah,
But I keep trying because I want to get back to that place where pain isn't ever present, because God, life is really beautiful. And if you live a life where you're not in daily pain,
yes.
like what a blessing, to be given that opportunity to like decide to go for a run or go down for a hike or whatever it may be, like I'm envious and grateful for the people who get to have that. I guess I'm not really envious. I'm grateful. Let's just stick with grateful.
I've already had a good cry today about this. I was talking to someone a little earlier about the about the zipline accident and about the excruciating pain, and it would do anything to make it go away in that moment. And now to be someone that was able to go through that and go through the conversation the surgeon said, you may never walk again, and to go through a wheelchair and to go through rehab and now be able to run a marathon and play scratch golf again. I am incredibly grateful every day. And to hear you say that, it's really cool to hear, because so many times people are just walking around entitled and taking it for granted. And every single day, man. You grabbed the tennis ball. You grabbed the ball. I grabbed the ball. You grabbed it for a different reason. I thought we were grabbing it for the same reason. I keep this with me every day to remind myself of how lucky I am to be able to walk again and still be the tallest guy in the room, because my identity was built on my height for a long period of time. And when you're in a chair, I wasn't the tallest anymore, and I wasn't playing golf anymore the same ways, right? So, yeah, I'm just grateful every day too, man.
It's funny. After our first conversation 18 months ago, 2 years ago, I bought a bag of those smiley face squish balls because I was like, that is the best representation, and I love it. And my kids got them all in their stocking for Christmas.
Yes. Every one of my daughters has, they all have an egg carton, and they bogarted my freaking little smiley face balls. I had a pack of like 100 of them. I come in here, like half of them are gone. They each took all of them. They wrote down the names of all their classmates. They put them in the egg carton, and now they carry around their classmates in egg cartons with little smiley faces on it. It's like the cutest thing. And I'm walking around the house this morning, and I see like 3 of them are now under my table over here on the vent. It's my kids' names of the ball. The 3 of them are right there on the vent. It's very sweet.
Oh my gosh. That's incredible. It's amazing, these little bits of connection that you don't anticipate, right? It's like, all right.
Yeah.
They see what's important to me. They want to make it important to them. And it's actually on the shelf behind me here, this Lego creation. My son gave it to me for Father's Day. We waited, of course, 6 months to put it together because he's too busy. I'm too busy. Always excuses. We finally built it together. He said, Dad, can we put it in your background? And obviously we just moved into a new house, so my background's not set up yet, but like it lived in my background. And then we were moving into this new house last week. And I said, well, here's the Lego creation. You can put it in the Lego bin. And he's like, oh no, Dad, then we'd lose the pieces. I said, oh, do you want me to keep it in my background? Yes, please. Oh, yeah, buddy. You got it. Cool. You got it. Anything you would like. Absolutely. He's 11, man. He still comes for his 10-second hugs every night and every morning. All right, I'll take it.
Take it, man. I'll take it. Time is precious, and every one of those magic moments is waiting to happen if we have our lens open for it. And you do. That's one of the reasons I love you. You've always got the lens open, even with all the challenges that people don't see, like the duck underwater going a million miles an hour in pain. Still, yep.
I'll tell you what, what's kind of interesting, I don't know how you feel about this, but like I've built my life, for so many years, ego was driving. I was trying to strive to make enough money to do this, to do that, like to build a company. And now I've done all of that, and those companies are still doing their thing. And frankly, I found myself last October really bored. I was like, I don't have to do anything anymore. Now what? Like, what's the next chapter? What's the next stage? What's the next piece? And I think the next piece for me, like real legacy, is how do we give it away, right? Yeah. I can't remember who gave the quote, but once you discover your gift, the whole purpose in life is to give it away.